Right, guys, welcome to episode 2 of Ollie and Matt Chew the Fat. Today we're going to be talking about how to upgrade your morning. We've called this the high performance morning upgrade. Ollie and I are both something that we're both very, very interested in, something that we've both spent a lot of time reading, learning about, and helping every single one of our clients with. And something that we both feel very passionate about is the fact that your morning and the routine that you run each day will set you up for either success, failure, or indeed mediocrity in your day. So without further ado, I guess we'll just get straight into it. And I suppose I'll take the lead then, Ollie, just now. Something that Ollie and I have both been running with, the kind of compartmentalized formula for the morning. Both of us led largely by a book, actually. I think we should probably give credit to some of the books that we've been reading whilst we're doing this, so people can. I've actually got mine right here. So here's one there we go. Here's one I made earlier. Book friends. So for reference, I shouldn't just show you the book, I should tell you what it is. It's called Own the Day, Own Your Life, and it's by a dude called Aubrey Marcus, who owns a company called On It. I'm not going to give you a verbatim rundown in the book. You can Google that yourself. But effectively, the strapline is optimize practices for waking, working, learning, eating, training, playing, sleeping, and sex. We're probably not going to cover that. We'll do a separate video on that on our OnlyFans page. So one of the, or if not the opening chapter of that book, Ollie, is morning routine and what Aubrey does. And you and I have both been experimenting with pretty much running that verbatim for now. I think we should probably caveat at the start that some of this stuff is a little out there. Some of this stuff is a little bit, there's maybe not that many studies behind some of it. There's credible studies for all of it, but not maybe a huge amount. And I think the key takeaway is to take all of this with a pinch of salt, pun intended. With a pinch of salt, run it, see what works for you. We'll talk about what worked for us, and then at least give it a shot before you judge it. Because again, before you judge a man, walk a mile in his shoes, right? And then you'll be a mile away and you'll have his shoes. But you should, I think you should try it and see what's happening. So for Aubrey Marcus, and certainly what I've been running, Ollie, you can tell me if yours is slightly different, but there's kind of like a wake up, and the very first thing gets a bit Jocko Willink straight off the bat, which is not snoozing your alarm, which I think most people do. I know I have in the past, and I think that was one of the biggest changes for me. Was I only have one alarm now, and that's it. Like, I don't even have optional alarms. So if I don't get up, I'm screwed, because like, I'm fucked. If I fall back asleep, there ain't no catch that I'm not going to get up. And I think it's the first opportunity, is what I talk to my clients about, is winning the first battle. So that is the first opportunity for your mind to run your decision making and for you to choose comfort over progress, is my observation of it. So I've been setting one alarm. Pro tip on that: if you've got an iPhone, using bedtime rather than the alarm function. I don't know if you've done this, but the bedtime thing has much softer sound effects. So rather than being woken up by a fucking sledgehammer,
siren.
Exactly. I mean, that's what alarm clocks are, right? It's like someone just kind of grabs you by the nutsack. It's not the way I want to be woken up.
Unless they're literally grabbing you by the nutsack tenderly.
It depends who it is and how they're doing it. So I think how's that been going for you? What have you been doing? Have you been getting up on your first alarm?
Yeah, so actually, interestingly, I haven't used an alarm at all at the minute. My internal clock will typically get me up just after 6 anyway. So I've just been taking that opportunity. Like Jude, my son, he gets up at about 7 or just before 7. So I just take that as, nice, man, I'm waking up naturally, I'm straight out of bed. And similarly to what you said, that's been massive. Like, the impact that's had on just my mood and my attitude on the day has been like crazy, because the way that I spoke about it on social media is you feel proactive. You're not in this like reactive state where you've got, like you say, you're snoozing, you're hitting your alarm, and then you've got to get going because you're in a rush, and then you're just on the back foot from the beginning of the day, and that just feels shit. So it seems so nonsensical. It seems so like such a small thing, but what that does for your mentality is incredible.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? I think it's that just winning that first decision. And in my opinion, on reflection, now that I am doing it regularly and have been. I mean, I've been doing this for 6 months now, and I think that when you look back on it, see that time that you win by snoozing, it's not quality sleep, mate. If anything, what happens is because the snooze cycle is so short, you fall back into a deeper sleep, and then you're woken from an even deeper slumber. So now you've snoozed once, you gained 9 minutes or whatever the fuck one snooze is, and then you were woken from a deep sleep by a really horrible noise. Like, that's a double loss for me. So getting up early has certainly been a huge part for me. What's number 2?
Number 2 is so simple, yet so massively overlooked. And I have definitely been guilty of this in the past. So number 2, he basically has you going and rehydrating as quickly as you can. So, skipping morning coffee for a decent amount of fluids. So in the book, he talks about 350 milliliters. That might be different for you. But 350 milliliters of water. We're also putting sodium in there as well, simply because we know that sodium helps you retain fluids, and we lose a lot of electrolytes in our sleep. And one of the interesting observations that he makes in the book is that, if you're somebody who most of us are, who are watching this sort of content, you're somebody who trains late into the day, if you're training in the afternoon or evening, then you're going to be even more dehydrated. And so it's even more important that we're replenishing those electrolytes and reestablishing hydration status as quickly as we can. And I think the analogy that he uses in the book is that of like a car, like a vehicle. In the manufacturer's instruction manual, it will say something along the lines of, when you start the car in the morning, make sure you let it run for a little while. Make sure you let the oil lubricate the working parts so that it runs effectively and you prolong the life of the vehicle. Like, makes total sense. And whilst I understand that you can't make direct correlations between a vehicle and a human body, it stands to reason that it makes sense to put stuff into our bodies that are vitally important for our health, for our function, as quickly as you can. So I'm doing the water, the sodium, and the lemon juice first thing in the morning. Tastes like absolute shit, but it serves a purpose. Like, it goes back to that thing as well of, like, just a little bit of controlled hardship and voluntary hardship is important psychologically as well. So that's number 2. Are you doing anything different with your like morning drink?
I was going to add a bit to that. So
yeah,
extra insight into one of the trainings that my clients all go through when you come in is, I taught them through why the salt, the sort of sodium, and why the lemon's there. So a couple of key points I would add is, sodium's largely there. Like, sodium is absolutely crucial to managing adrenal function, which, let's be real, right now folks' adrenals are getting hammered because of the way the world is. So if you're hammering out a shitload of adrenal function and being stressed and training in a whole new way, you've applied a whole load of new stress, you're going to be using sodium. Equally well, sodium is absolutely crucial for proper muscular activation and contraction. So again, if you're training any amount, much like you just said, you're going to need more sodium. Number 2, the lemon juice. People just assume it's just like, oh, vitamin C. It must just be for vitamin C. That's why we're having it. Yes, that is one of the reasons, but equally well, it will help reduce inflammation. And in my opinion, from what I've seen, it should help increase the sort of natural acidity of your gut to help your gut deal with the food that you're going to throw at it. The thing that I do differently is I add Nutridyne greens, like their fruits and greens, because like you said, it's like licking the bottom of the ocean and then like chasing it with a lemon. It's fucking grim. I tried it for a month and I was like, this is so shite. Like, I'm not enjoying it. So I mixed fruit. I use the pink grapefruit fruits and greens, and just that makes it far more palatable. I actually also add vitamin D because, as you can see, I'm under fluorescent light. There is absolutely no daylight in Scotland. So
the Nutridyne greens, though, it's like rocking horse shit, man. I've looked for it and I just can't find it anywhere.
A man like Matt Peacock can hook you up.
Oh yeah, send me the links, bro.
Yeah, I'll hook you up. And I think when you go.
No, go on, sorry.
I've lost my train of thought now. What was I going to say? I had something to add on that front. Oh yeah, so what I say to my clients is that largely people wake, and they wake in a relative dehydrated state, which you spoke about on your Instagram this week. But what we've been conditioned to wake and associate that feeling as tiredness and not as dehydration. And we've also been conditioned as a society to just get up and have a cup of coffee or tea. That's what we do. Like, it's just, as soon as you hit like being an adult and having a real job, it's like, right, get up and have a coffee. Get to your desk, have a coffee. Make a cafeteria, put the coffee on. And I think that people misinterpret and they wrongly assume what they're experiencing is tiredness when actually it's a lot of dehydration. Then they don't have the water, they have the coffee, which is a diuretic, which dehydrates them further. And what happens is the stimulatory effects mask the dehydration for a short period of time. And then when that wears off and they experience even more dehydration, they think it's even more tiredness, and they just rinse and repeat the same thing for like the morning, and then it gets to lunchtime and like, I should probably drink some water. Now, probably not everybody that's watching this is that bad, but Gen Pop is like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and also, we can't overlook the fact that the water that you have prior to having the coffee, no matter how long before, will help steady out the caffeine spike that you experience. So rather than that huge spike and then a drop off a cliff, you will probably level it out a little bit more. The only other change I make is I'm like a full, 700 ml now. We just upgraded it. We just slowly worked up because it was pissing like a pregnant diabetic for a wee while. So I've just moved it up to 700, and that's what works for me now.
Yeah, perfect. You touched on vitamin D as well. First thing, I'm having vitamin D in the morning as well, and some K2, just in an oral spray, which for anybody who's living in the UK or living in a country that is maybe a little bit deficient of sunlight, which at the minute we're not. I don't know what it's like your neck of the woods, dude, but it's absolutely glorious over here. It was raining this morning. My brother put up a picture on Instagram of him in London, and it was like lovely sunshine. It's like 6 degrees and shite here, but I mean that's pretty much the peak. That's typical. Yeah.
Okay, so after that, his next point is what he calls get lit. Yeah, that's point 3. I'm not missing one. That's the.
No, that's it. Yeah, get lit. Yeah.
So get lit is Aubrey's point on seeking blue light effectively to utilize the cortisol awakening response. So effectively waking up the way you would in a more primal manner, like when we were cavemen. And I know we can't just link everything back to it. Nothing annoys me more than that movement of, well, it's not paleo and it's not primal, so you shouldn't be doing it. It's not natural. Oh, shut up, Jeffy. So ultimately, like there's still some value in that. Circadian rhythm is still largely governed by blue light exposure in different times of the day. So in the morning, a good dose of blue light is going to work. Now, touching on, we've kind of segued nicely where you are on the south coast. That's easy. The sun was going to be, maybe not right now, but there's some sunlight. In Scotland, again, you'd be as well living in a cave. So there is no blue light. So you've got options. You can use a SAD lamp, a seasonal effectiveness disorder lamp, which is fine if you work at a desk and you can sit still. But you need I think it's 40 minutes.
Right.
It's at 45 degrees to your eyes. You can't really, it's a bit restricted. It's a bit of a tense. So actually
Here we go.
So Aubrey's next point that he recommends is this I don't even know how you say it, Valky?
I don't know the pronunciation.
Human charger thing. So it's effectively earphones connected to what looks like an iPod mini. Everyone knows it's for girls. It's effectively torches that go in your ears, and this thing runs down for a period, I think it's 12 minutes per cycle, which the studies on their website show that blue light can be used through your lug holes the same way it would through your eyes. You have those same photosensitive cells in your ear canals, and thus I can do stuff. So what I'll do is I'll get up whilst I'm making that pint of water. I just chuck that in my lug holes. It's done before I'm finished the water. But I think there's a lot to be said for not getting out and about and getting some blue light first thing in the morning. I feel so much better for either getting outside, using a SAG lamp, or using that human charger.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I'm at a lovely position at the minute where I can just step outside at sort of 6 a.m. Sun's up or it's coming up, and I'll just do some movement flow in the front garden, mate. Just get myself moving, just enjoy the sun for a little bit. Still a little bit sleepy, still a little bit kind of weary-eyed, but the second that I'm warmed up and I've been out in the sun for 5 minutes or so, I feel incredible, man. It's unreal. I may have to purchase the human charger because undoubtedly it will be absolutely hideous in no time at all. This can't be us forever. I know it's not going to be. So I'm going to. How much did you pay for that?
100 and something, 120, something like that. There's like a Gen 2 now. The Gen 2 plays music, So you can,
Oh, right.
but so mine is purely light. The new one is music as well. But I'll be honest with you, I've got the Bose noise cancelling headphones, so they fit over them. So when I had to, I could do that. These days, I actually just quite enjoy 12 minutes of peace and quiet. I think parents will get that, but I think that human charger thing is the first example of that. Like, people might feel some resistance to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like I think on the surface. You are sorry.
There's not enough studies to back it up.
That's it. You know, that's this. I think that's going to be the biggest objection, isn't it? There's not enough studies. There's not enough research, and you know, to that, I'll always say, a lack of research or an absence of research doesn't mean that it's null and void. You know, sometimes there just hasn't been research in particular areas for us to be able to categorically say whether or not something works or not. And as with all of these things, it doesn't matter if it's written in black and white on PubMed if it doesn't make you feel a particular way. And conversely, it doesn't matter if it is written black and white on PubMed if it does make you feel a certain way, you know. So the first two things that we've spoken about there, you can do, cost you no money, you know, unless of course you're using the human charger. But getting out, get some sunlight, getting hydrated first thing in the morning costs you absolutely nothing. And just notice how you feel in yourself. And, you know, you can adapt and use things that you like, things that you think work well, things that don't. But I always say, if it's causing no harm to you or to others, then what's the harm in trying, you know? And this is massively one of those things. It does take a little bit of, not a leap of faith. It's not a massive ask, is it? But there will be people, like you say, who just come up and say, oh, this, that, and the other. And it's like, just fucking give it a try, mate. Seriously.
This is the thing. I think even if it works in the sense of a placebo, does it work? Does it therefore work? The answer in my mind is very clearly yes. Placebo or not. If I am having the result I expected, be it through actual science or through self-imposed placebo, I don't really give a shit. It works for me. And equally well, Aubrey talks later on in the book about nocebo effects, which is like the inverse. I don't really care how it works. I'd like to understand. But for most people, it's like, does it make me feel better? Yes. Did it cost me 120 quid? Could I afford that? Yes. Then no problem. Much like in the rest of the UK, sunlight's largely available. So going and getting outside costs hee-haw, like you say. So, yeah, I think there's just like taking it with a pinch of salt and doing what you can. And then the third part, moving on, is movement.
Yeah, so I think movement was kind of in with the get lit, was it? I'm not sure. I mean, the way that he does it is like he tries to combine the two. So like I'll go out and do some movement in the sun, and he like killing two birds with one stone. So like, just to elaborate on that, so essentially, and actually I think that was the analogy that you used with the car, is the movement is like warming yourself up, getting blood circulating, etc. But the premise still stands with what we were talking about previously. But yeah, it's not like a hardcore workout. It's not doing hundreds and hundreds of push-ups. And actually what you don't want to do is detract from your training sessions. You don't want any fatigue crossover. You don't want, you don't need to be able to you don't have to recover from what you're doing. It's just a case of just getting your body moving. So I'm just doing some stretching in the front. I look like an absolute nutter, mate, because I got out in my boxers and I've got like an old girl across the road called Babs. She's having an absolute field day, mate. And I've got like a semi-lob on in the morning doing my stretches in the front garden.
Old creepy Babs, that's who she is.
What do you do for you go for a run now, don't you?
7 a.m. Babs has got to wring out her pants in the front room.
No, mate, she's all dried up.
Oh, mate, grim. Poor Babs, give her a chance. I go for a run, and that's kind of like, I'll probably touch on something right at the end of this in terms of, I've taken Aubrey's thing and I've combined it with another and made a kind of muscle intake coach version called the M cube method. But for me, I go running, I get up and run, and I actually do things in a slightly different order now just because it works for me. But yeah, my movement, to stay on topic, is I go for a run. It's not long, it's not fast, it's not far. It's 20 minutes. That's my limit. Like, I will run for 20 minutes. I don't give a shit how far I run. I base it on effort. I need my effort to be low, but just some movement. So it's more of a jog than a run. I probably cover 3.5K. It's not the world's biggest run. I basically run out for 10. When I get to the 10-minute mark, I turn around and I just run in a different direction every morning so that it's fresh and new. And I think one thing that came to mind when you were talking in that last sort of section was, when we were talking about placebo, does it work? Why does it work? Give it a chance. I think largely one of the reasons why people feel better and why you and I feel better doing all this is that it's almost, you feel energized through empowerment, through like, I've gone and grabbed today by the nutsack straight out of bed, rather than that usual, like, I just sort of drag myself out after 10 snoozes, cup of coffee, no movement, right onto the laptop, social media. Any wonder that the inverse of that makes you feel better? Probably there is some correlation there. Whether or not it's causation, fuck knows. Doesn't matter again, in my opinion.
It doesn't fucking matter if it makes you feel good. It's that, you've probably seen the clip of the Navy SEAL officer talking about making your bed first thing in the morning is like achieving your first task, and how that sets you up to succeed for the rest of the day. And it's that same premise of like grabbing your day by the balls rather than being on the back foot constantly. So, if all of these things that you're doing or not doing are making you feel empowered, like you said, which was amazing, they're making you feel as though you're achieving something, and you get that rush of endorphins or whatever hormones are being released when we're doing those things, and that is making you succeed for the rest of the day, then fine. It doesn't matter what the mechanisms are of this. It doesn't matter what's happening scientifically. It's feeling. This is all about feeling. If you're somebody right now who has a way that you go about things in the morning and you find that throughout the day you feel like shit, then surely it's worth trying to change, and these are really simple things to do. They'll be hard at first because it requires a fair habit change, to make it stick. And I've only been going for a couple of days, so I can't really talk. But I'm pretty damn confident that I'll keep it going for the coming weeks and months and potentially for the rest of my life. But it's worth a try. If you feel like shit at work, then give this stuff a try.
You and I have spoken about this at length, kind of like off air, if you like, that we both have that kind of weird mentality where it's like, if I've decided I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. There's not really a question of whether or not it's going to stick. Like, I committed to this and it's going to happen. I appreciate that not everybody has that kind of almost psychotic element and just like, I've made a decision, it's fucking happening. But I agree with you entirely. Like, for the small payoff and the small pain factor that is making these changes, I think it's definitely worth it. Are you moved on to the cold showers yet or not?
Yeah, I'm on cold showers. Yeah,
legit good.
It's fucking unreal. Like, hard at first. I don't know where are you at now? Like, has it got easier for you? We'll talk about this. We'll talk about the next step in a second. But just while we're on it, has it got easier for you since you've been doing it? Because you've been doing it for like half a year.
Yeah, I mean, like, my dick still looks like a midget's thumb in the head.
Yes, yeah.
But, yeah, it's got easier. But again, I've taken what was given verbatim in the book, taken it for a spin, got on with it to a certain degree, and then found something that was a slight tweak that works better for me. So I don't know whether, do you want to run with like explaining what's in from that? You go with that, and then I'll explain my kind of addendum.
Yeah, sure. So in the book, basically, and we can and the thing is I'll touch on the science and what they talk about in the book. Again, how much credibility there is in it, and I know there's some research behind it. How prevalent and how important it is, I don't really know, but it goes back, and I know it sounds like we're harping on and repeating ourselves, but it goes back to how it makes you feel, and that's really what matters most. So the premise is that you go through a process called Wim Hof's breathing technique. So this guy's an absolute fucking lunatic. He's got like crazy records for running through Arctic conditions with no top on and doing marathons and all sorts of stuff. And he's got some breathing techniques that he uses to basically train for this stuff. And I won't go into detail of how to do that, but essentially you go through the Wim Hof breathing technique in your shower. You get to a point where you're ready to go, and then you just blast the cold tap on for as long as you can handle. I guess he mentions 3 minutes in the book. I'm not up to 3 minutes yet. Yeah. I'm not up to 3 minutes. I probably manage about a minute at the push. You're holding your breath for as long as you can as well, and then the idea is that you try and endure the cold until your breath regulates and you get back to normal breathing patterns. And correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, like the premise is he talks about inflammation. He talks about what else does he talk about? The reasons that we do it.
Brown
You remember
fat
what he says?
activation. It talks about brown fat cell activation as well, which
Yeah.
you have like some science, but not a huge amount. And plus, if you're doing it for like 30 seconds, I would doubt that you're doing that. And it's not the reason why I do it.
No. Do you know what it is? For me, it's that premise of it's voluntarily exposing yourself to a bit of hardship every day, first thing in the morning. Voluntarily.
You and I the same thing again. Like it's that almost sadistic thing that we've got. It's probably why we get on so well. Is that it's like it's my second opportunity after the snooze thing to something I don't want to do, and I kind of like that because it's that callous in your mind thing where it's like you're standing with your hand on the mixer. So it's important to point out, guys, that I don't know if you said this, but it's something that a lot of my clients missed when I first did this training was you should take your normal shower first. Have a shower, get washed, enjoy a shower. This is this isn't like an experiment in like a prisoner of war camp. You should enjoy your shower. Get clean, do your normal routine. Like I brush my teeth, do my hair. Yeah, I brush my teeth in the shower, deal with it. And then it's like standing with your hand on the mixer. I don't know about you, but I have that kind of like, again, every morning. And then I'm like, well, no, fuck you. And it's that voice that I'm trying to quell with this. I crank it on to cold. And rather than Wim Hof, so Wim Hof, like I've taken him as like my honorary granddad in the way of having one anymore. Like an absolute legend. I'm definitely going to go to Poland and do his week-long thing when this is all done.
Yeah, I've heard about this, man.
There's a few guys keen for it, so I don't know whether we're just going to do it en masse, but it looks absolutely minted. But
yeah,
I tried his breath in the shower, and I had done his breathing prior to doing it in the shower, and I've always done it lying down because that's what Wim Hof specifically outlines. I don't know about you, but have you started to get a bit spacey with it? Like
your fingers go like you get like tingles in your fingers and.
Like hyperoxygenation's a bit of a weird one. So for me, in the shower, I get particularly lightheaded when I do it, and I'm like, this is fucking dangerous. Like I'm gonna shout Sarah, and I'm just like a shivering wreck with a tiny cock that's just broke his arm. Like,
mate, let me stop you.
Paramedic coming in, it's like it was a cold shower. Honest, guys, it was a cold shower.
Mate, seriously, just while we were there, I genuinely had an experience with my good mate and my old business partner Adam. We went to Ibiza together, and we were talking about Ibiza before we came on this, and I passed out in our hotel room bathroom, pissed all over myself, absolute lake cake, right? Fizz dick, tiny fucking midget's thumb hanging out a bush. And he heard me crack my head on the floor, and he came in and he said to me the next day, like, Jesus Christ, dude, that is some tiny pecker. Oh, man.
I love that. So that's why I don't do it standing up. So it's probably worth pointing out that although it says Wim Hof, you don't have to do that. What I do now, I do a Wim Hof breathing later on in the day, just lying down, because I actually enjoy using the Wim Hof breathing to chill me out. Whereas I don't find anything about a cold shower something relaxing. So I don't want to mix and match those things. So what I do is I have a normal shower, I turn and face the mixer, and then I take like a couple of deep breaths, maybe 3, and then the last one's massive and I let it out. So I'm like on an empty. On an empty, I turn it down and I just hold empty, because if you do enough Wim Hof, you get really good at holding your breath at the bottom of your breath, so empty. And I don't have that thing anymore, like it doesn't catch me. And then I don't put my head under straight away. I let it hit my chest. So I find letting it hit my chest is far easier. Let that first shot go, then let my head under, and I'll basically stay under until I get like brain freeze. Like, you know, like, have you had it yet? Like from like, it's like you've had too much ice cream. It's fucking agony. Yeah. And then once you've got through that, I find I can just get on with like almost going through another shower. I just like get the cold water all over me and I move around the shower in it. And I'm probably doing 2 minutes tops. Like 3 seems excessive, especially for like recommending in the book. Like yeah,
it's quite far-fetched, man. 3 minutes is, I think maybe that was a bit of dick swinging. Like you had to set the bar quite high.
There's nothing to swing.
It's not. It's like dick pointing.
It's like a fucking walnut whip. You're not swinging anything. So yeah, the cold shower is a big one for me. Like I think I enjoy that as probably the most of all of it. Like you never feel as awake and alert as you do coming out of the shower. And then I don't know about you, but I don't go back to hot. I just get out.
No, get out. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to start going down to the sea, to be fair.
So that Sophie doesn't go into, make sure and turn it back up.
yeah. Nah, fuck it, man. She's locked in, mate. It doesn't matter.
Sarah's not yet. She only got one ring in her finger. So I turn it back to hot. So pro tip, if you value your relationship and your longevity in that, turn the shower back to hot. Don't be a dick. Is that pretty much the length of what you're running just now? No problem.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm up to I'm up to I think chapter 4 or 5 now, and some of the nutrition stuff I've just like glazed my eyes over and just thought I'm not doing that. Some of it's a little bit pseudoscience, a little bit you've taken some ideas and then you've just ran with it, you know. Do you know what? That's one thing. And actually, I had a chat, like an internal chat with myself about this, and talked myself out of it, because I got onto the nutrition section of the book and I was like, bollocks. You know, as a nutritionist, I was like, that shit. And then it made me question the stuff before. But fortunately, I had already gone through that stuff and noted in myself, and it's that conversation of how does it make you feel? So regardless of what science he's talking about and the mechanisms and all that kind of stuff, how does it make you feel? It makes me feel fucking good. Yeah. And so I'm going to continue to run with it. So just because, you know, I was turned off slightly by the nutrition side of things, it doesn't change any of the other stuff that's gone previously.
No, I think with these books in general, my kind of approach is to try and leave any preconceptions I've got at the door. I don't have to forget what I already know. I just have to try and leave it to one side and absorb it's that like Bruce Lee quote, which I can never properly remember, but it's that like take what's useful, disregard what's not, and then add what's essentially your own. It's like that's the not direct, but that's the premise of that quote. And I think that's what you got to do with these books: is take what you find useful, disregard what you don't, add what you already had and what is your own, and then what you're left with is kind of what works for Ollie Carson, Matt Peacock, who I'm watching. I think that's key. But the other thing that I do is, hold on a minute, I'll grab it in here. This book, in tandem with, is another good one. The 5 a.m. Club, that's probably like a good second stop in terms of they work quite well. And I've taken what's in here, combined it with what's in Aubrey's book, and then turned that into some sort of like hybrids. Again, absorbed what I found useful from each book, disregarded the parts that were shite in my opinion, the nutrition bit, yes, and then added in my own, and then what's come out of that is what's called the M-cubed method, which is breaking down the first part of your day into 3 20-minute windows, or 3 windows. The 20 minutes is kind of irrelevant. 3 windows where you've got the first M is movement, so that's kind of akin to Aubrey. The second M is mental clarity, and then the third M is mental growth. So for me, move, and then do all that Aubrey Marcus jazz at the start, and then I move into mental clarity being some journaling and some meditating for me. That's my way of doing it, and that's what I get my clients to do. It doesn't have to be meditation. The clue is the names are very, very broad and very, very, I want it to be a framework and not an absolute. Because I said on Instagram this week, I'm a big believer in absolute. So while all that stuff we just spoke about is like absolute, and it must be this and it must be that, and it's a 3-minute cold shower and it's 350 mils of water, like find what works for you.
Yeah.
Hydration is enough as a title.
Broader, yeah.
So for me, like that mental clarity, so movement for the first bit, you go out and do semi-naked yoga for Babs, I go for a jog. Mental clarity, I use the Burchard planner, and then I plan out my day, and then I sit down and meditate for 10 minutes. And then the mental growth is exactly what we're talking about. I sit down and read for however long I have in my day. So it doesn't sound happy about this bit.
Yeah, I think Sophie's trying to put them down for a nap, but just add spice and flavor to these videos. You know,
yeah,
it's just authentic. It's real. It's rustic. It's
Jude's just got to the nutrition section in the book. Fucking
he's fucking Fredders, mate. What is this shit?
What is this shite? Just for clarity, the first bit in the nutrition says if you're counting calories, you're doing it wrong. and I'm just kind of like immediately.
Oh. No, I think before that, I haven't got to that bit yet, actually, because otherwise it would be fucking in the fire. No. But before that, there's a section on breakfast, and it says no carbohydrates, fats and fiber only. Either have fats and fiber or don't eat at all. I'm like,
this isn't. Yeah, it's too absolute, and this is the thing. It's like I'm cool with frameworks, and I'm cool with understanding other people's ideas and ideologies. But if you start dishing out absolutes like that, you're treading a fine line.
But then the thing is, though, is that like I can kind of see, you know, the way that they're probably coming at it from, or he's coming at it from, is when you're speaking to Gen Pop, when you're speaking to the masses. Sometimes if you don't give absolutes like that, and you give a little bit of free reign, you give a little bit of freedom, then people kind of tend to take the piss and get a little bit comfortable.
Yeah.
So if somebody's eating fiber in the morning, they're going to be more satiated. I kind of get it, but it's just it was like you say, it's too black and white, it's too absolute, and it's not right at the end of the day. So I think just take parts of the book with a pinch of salt, as we said previously, no pun intended, but just take parts of it with a pinch of salt and try the things and see how it makes you feel. But the nutrition section, just fucking rip it out of the book and put it in the bin. Get in the fucking bin. That's our next thing for the bin.
In the bin, the nutrition section. I think that's like a nice, tie back to what we said the point in these videos was that it's about trying not to attach to any dogmatic view. And like, you and I aren't going to agree on 100% of everything. We agree on a lot of things equally well. Like, people watching probably aren't going to agree with some of the stuff we say. It's not about that. It's just about having an understanding of what I talk to my clients about. And I don't think I covered this in the last one. Is like, I asked them to consider like the top of my screen whenever we're on a Zoom call. So look at my square, my panel, and I'm like, consider it like we've got all these different channels of information. Like, we've got like keto, and we've got Aubrey Marcus's nutrition, and then we've got Mac nutrition. We've got all these different things, and then we've got all exercise modalities and all these different things. You need to understand as many of them as possible to understand when to pull on each toggle. And I think that's kind of the point of what we're doing here. Is I'm not saying that I only subscribe to this morning routine. I'm not saying I only subscribe to that. I like to understand them all so that I can know when to apply, and I can steal bits from each one, and kind of the resultant is a far greater understanding of everything, and therefore the ability to use the right tool at the right time.
Yeah, love that.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect, mate. I think that pretty much covers fucking everything in the morning routine setup, really, doesn't it?
Agree. The morning routine done.
Done and dusted.
Easy.
So I guess
just to recap, all that was going in the bin today was the nutrition section. We didn't bin anything else.
No, that's all that's gone in the proverbial bin. We still need to get working on this visual aid, this visual tool for the bin.
I did think about that.
You're the man for that, mate. You know you are. You love a bit of Photoshop.
I need to come up with it. I need to do it proud. I was thinking about it before we started recording. I was like, fuck, I didn't make a bin. I can't remember what went in it last time. We can rewatch last time's.
Barry.
Neighborhood watch.
Was it Barry? Was that his name?
No, it's definitely a Brian.
Brian, that's it. Yeah, I knew it was a B.
Dick. Brian. Nutrition section. That's two things in the bin. I think one's enough.
Yeah, one each episode is more than sufficient.
Absolutely. The bin will be full in no time, mate.
Awesome, dude. Mate, that was fucking epic, as always. So, guys, take-home points from this is go, try it, know in yourself how it makes you feel, tweak and adjust based on your own lifestyle and your own wants and needs, and let us know how you get on. Suck it and see. That's it. I'm leaving that there. I'm not following that one. I'm going to fucking leave it. Right, guys. We'll see you all soon. See you next time.